Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I don't normally do this, but I want to issue a trigger warning just in advance to let you know that there is some dark humor in this episode, and our hearts go out to the families of the most recent shooting. These are just jokes to try to lighten the mood, even if they are from a dark sense of humor, but we do not in any way, shape, or form condone violence in any nature, especially towards children, and we just want to put that out there before the episode goes out, and hopefully you will enjoy the rest of the content, and thank you all for tuning in, and we appreciate each and every one of you. So yeah,
the second time I got crabs.
Oh God. Hopefully you cooked them properly, because if it's the other way, you're screwed.
They better be delicious.
I digress.
Yeah.
Anyway, what is shaking, people? I was given the dubious honor of introing today's episode, so welcome to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am King Hamster Pellet himself, Mike Schiavo. To my right is the incomparable Daniel, who's having a hard time opening his...
No, it's literally frozen.
Right. He's having a hard time opening his tumbler.
Solid.
Gator.
Yeah.
And special guest, straight from the Nerd Badge podcast, we are greeted with Mike Quinn.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
So, welcome.
Yeah, so we should have an interesting show today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jimmy couldn't be here today because, well, frankly, he's got stuff and things. And yeah, so we've had a busy week, a couple weeks off. So yeah, there's been so much shit going on that it's like trying to keep up with everything. I'm actually running on like no sleep.
Yeah, you look it.
Yeah, so I had a union meeting. I had other things going on, work. It was just one of those things where you're just like, when is this day gonna fucking end?
Yep, the kids came back today and we're like, no.
Yeah, you see all the signs on the road. It's like, drive carefully. Schools are open. Really?
Drive carefully every day. Even the schools are closed, idiot.
You would think, but it's like, oh, drive carefully. Even though we just had our first school shooting of the year. Yeah. I don't want to make light of it, but at the same time, it's like, seriously, how did we not place in the Olympics for shooting?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's on. Holy
this is going to be one of those episodes today, folks.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah.
Is my mic on? I feel like I'm barely hearing myself.
You're on, but it's not. Remember, this is the mic that it's angled. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Is that better? There we go.
There you go.
Wait a minute. There we go. I got to find myself.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we all have to find ourselves at some point or another.
I find myself every night.
I'm just happy I get to curse.
Alone?
Yes, I do. I find myself alone every night.
Yeah, we don't hold back here, so it's pretty much...
You shoot from the hip.
Yeah, there's no reason for us to sit there and not just let it go, because we're not. This podcast is not made for children.
Yay! Fuck them kids. Not the kids that got shot. I feel bad for them.
Yeah,
no.
I got to find the right spot to talk to. Okay, here we go. All right.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like right now everything's going crazy. We're in the middle of an election year, and we try to keep everything as non-political as possible here.
Same.
But at the same time, it's also hard not to.
We should just do the purge and get it over with.
Oh God, it was already filmed. Which one was it? Was filmed on Staten Island?
Election year.
No. They were never actually filmed on Staten Island. They were.
One took place on Staten Island.
Yeah, it took place on Staten Island. But it was in like Toronto. Like the projects were by like the water, and it was. Oh my God, I fell hard. I got to find the right spot here. Hold on. I'm like moving around the mic. I don't know this recording.
Just pick up the windscreen, and you'll be able to see where it is.
Okay, here we go. There we go. Much better. There's no wind in here.
You really don't need to be like that on top of the mic.
I feel I can barely hear myself. I feel like I hear myself more now.
Mike, you want to...
You got the yellow one, right?
Yeah, no, you're the yellow one. You switched places with Jimmy this time.
Yeah,
how's that better?
I can feel much better. There we go. I'm like listening to my own echo, and it's like disturbing.
Yeah,
but yeah, so 100%. I mean, same thing on my podcast, No Best Podcast. Cough, cough. We don't talk about politics because I feel like politics is a thing that you can talk about with other people at other places. Yeah. We talk about more like nerdy stuff. I had Mike on there a whole bunch of times. We have fun little subjects. But I try not to keep it like I keep it PG because I feel like this is for everybody. I don't want to alienate anybody with the cursing that I fucking do in natural life all the time. It's like a barrier between myself and reality that I have to not curse for. But same thing, man. I mean, it's like these fucking kids, bro. I'm sorry, but I lived in this neighborhood. I grew up by Harold and Livingston as a kid. Bro, I would never have my mom drive me to school. Like, every single parent is freaking out. Like, you're going to stop a 6'2", like, Yugoslavian guy from taking your kid? No. I'm sorry, that ain't going to happen. He's going to punch you in the face and put that kid into work.
I'm sorry. It's more a matter of that they don't teach the kids nowadays where it's like we grew up where it was like, hey, stay away from the guys with the van.
Exactly.
That, you know, someone's going to kidnap you.
Depends on the candy.
They gave you warnings to let you know, like, hey, this is like stranger danger, be alert, be prepared. We were all better prepared for everything as opposed to nowadays where these kids don't even get sarcasm.
You know who I blame? With, like, you know, the stranger stuff now? You know who I blame? Uber. Because you're calling a stranger from the internet to come pick you up and get in their car.
I got one even better. It's like, how the hell do we have our older family members, like, back in, like, 1994 when the internet first came out with AOL chat rooms, like, don't listen to strange things that people say on the internet because it's going to be really bad. You don't know if it's true or not. Next thing you know, your grandmother and your uncle hit you up like, did you know that aliens are sit there and landed on in New Mexico back in the 70s?
Change it.
Back in the 70s, and now, like, the Democrats are sitting and the Republicans are like lizard people. It's like, listen, shut up, okay? Because, like, there's so many stuff that people contradict themselves on, and I just think it's I hate saying it, it's bad parenting.
It is.
If your kid cannot,
it's a lack of parenting.
Exactly.
I had a kid this morning. We want everybody to cross up at the corner because we have traffic coming one way and you have the drop off coming the other way. So I see this one mother dropping the kid off, and she's walking across the street, and I'm like, excuse me, please, you know, we want everybody crossing up at the corner. She goes, but I can't get any more closer to the corner. I'm like, no, you have to walk up to the corner that way. She goes, but my kid's in the other car. I was like, okay, let your daughter walk up the block. The principal is right there. They'll take everybody. But that's so inconvenient.
Oh
well, I'm like, then get in the car, drive around the block, and come up on a dropout.
You know what's also
let your kid get on the school bus.
Yeah. You know what's also inconvenient? Taking your kid to the hospital when he gets freaking his chest obliterated by a freaking Mack truck.
Yeah.
You know, that might put a hamper on your day.
Yeah, it's one of those things where right now everything has gone a little too safe.
Yeah.
We went from it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
To now it's like, oh, I know exactly where my kid is. I've got him tracked on his phone.
Exactly.
It's like, are you kidding me right now?
Exactly. If you should not turn a safety net into a hammock because your kid is never going to learn.
Never.
And I'm sorry, I know people are going to sit there and listen to this and go, but he doesn't have kids. You're right, I don't have kids. But you know what? Everyone around me has kids. And I know it's not the direct thing. I understand that. But I'm sorry, I seen family members who have kids of mine. I see what happens when you smother them and when you don't smother them. There are kids in my family that are well raised, great jobs, and then there's ones that are freaking idiots. And I hate saying it. If you're listening to this and you think you can't be told what to do as a parent or whatever, you're a fucking jackass, okay? Because it literally takes a village to raise your kids. And
That's what it used to be.
Exactly. I used to have my next door neighbor come over and be like, hey, listen, we're going to go do this. And my lady who lived down the block from me, right here, and be like, hey, listen, I'm going to show you how to do this. And that's what it took. Now people sit there and say, you can't tell me how to raise my kid. You need to be told how to raise your kid. Because most of these parents, I see it. I know you work in schools. Yeah. I see people who have kids now and they try and be their kid's best friend. Listen, your kid has two parents their entire lives. That's it. Everybody else can be a fucking friend. All right.
Yeah. So, you know what? On this topic, it might as well lead into the first show that we were reviewing, which is that 90s show, the new season. Because let's face it, things changed from the 70s, 80s to the 90s into now how everyone's raising their kids.
And Red is still putting boots in ass.
Yeah. Red is still doing the old school parenting, even though he's grandpa.
Yeah. That's fine.
And he's lightened up in this season. But at the same time, it was just like they, at the very least, picked up where they left off. The car went through and they were trying to fix the kitchen.
Oh, that's awesome.
I actually had something similar that happened to me when I was younger. I didn't have a car go through my kitchen.
I was going to say.
No, I didn't have a car go through my kitchen, but I put my friend through my wall.
Probably deserved it.
He did. We were screwing around, and I pushed him. And I didn't think I pushed him that hard.
Yeah.
But obviously I pushed him hard enough because he went backwards, and he went into the wall, and he I hit him in the right spot. He went in between the beam. So I just see a little crack.
Cheap drywall.
Yeah, cheap drywall.
No, this was good sheetrock. I just see a
This
little
is
crack.
an inch and a quarter thick, bro.
Yeah. I just saw a little crack over his shoulder. I'm like, okay, that's not bad. And then he gets
out of
and
the
he gets
hole.
out of the wall, and it's like from his shoulders to like his ass, and I'm like, oh my god.
I'm dead.
I'm like, especially if you knew my father, I was like, oh my god, what do? He takes a poster off my wall and he puts it over the hole. I go, what's that gonna do? He goes, buy you time. He goes, I go, for what? He goes, for me to leave. I'm like, dick.
And then he jumps out the window.
Yeah, no, but in all honesty, I had posted it for like 2.5 years.
Oh,
trying
man.
to figure out how to just drywall it without anybody knowing.
Well, once you had enough money, you could
Yeah,
get
not
the
even money,
drywall.
enough money. I'm like, okay, my father works for the fire department. He has all crazy hours.
Yeah.
My mother works for CUNY. I go to school. How am I going to sneak a piece of sheetrock into the house, take out the other one, and put it in, paint it, tape it, do all that without anybody noticing?
And kids don't learn that now. They just have Google. They learn how to do that stuff.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing though. They're sitting in front of a screen rather than actually figuring out how to do shit.
Yeah, and
And I don't want to come across. I hate being that person that comes across as freaking what's it called? Like bashes children and stuff like that, or people of the younger generation. Like I'm a grumpy old man, whatever. Absolutely not. I'm just talking about like from actual situations that I've seen, not a general like, oh, I saw a kid walking down smiling the other day. What a little jerk off. You know what I mean? Like it's not like that. It's like I've seen kids, and I've actually interacted with my friends' kids that have literally like the IQ of their shoe size, and it's like, okay, you're a little stupid. And they have this opportunity to have something in front of their hands that they can learn the world with. And they just don't apply it. And that is the one thing that blows my mind. Like, if I was able to do, if I had this phone when I was in junior high, I would be president of fucking Earth.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing. Like I worked retail, so me bashing kids isn't bashing kids. It's more the parenting, because working at GameStop for years, and the disrespect. I sit there and I was like, my mother would have beat the living hell out of me, where I wouldn't be walking, let alone I'd be lucky to be alive. And these kids, like, they're cursing at their parents, where it's like, even nowadays, as an adult, it's still like you're thinking twice about saying something in front of your parents. You let it slip, and then it's like, oh shit, oh wait, I'm an adult now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I hate telling this to people. And if you're listening to this, sorry, we're getting off topic about the show. If you're listening to this and you think that being nice to your kid and making your kid think that everything's going to happen for their way just because of they asked for it, the real world is going to punch your kid in the face. And I mean this literally and figuratively. Because if your kid mouths off to the wrong person, they're going to get a knuckle sandwich in their mouth, unfortunately, against their will.
Because no one knows how to behave anymore.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
and there are people out there who don't know how to behave. And guess what? That person's going to crack your kid's teeth out. And that's why I tell people all the time, it's like, listen, don't teach your kid to freaking negotiate with them. Like, as soon as, I had family members who have kids, and they would try and negotiate. Well, what if we do? I was like, who the fuck are you trying to negotiate? What the fuck you think this is, a hostage negotiation? What, you got fucking kids in there? You got a gun? Who the fuck are you talking to? This is not working out for your fucking favor. I say what the fuck happens. I'm in control of your fucking uncle. Sit down, shut the fuck up, and clean up.
I think we let you off the leash a little too much.
A little too much. I get to yell and scream in a podcast. This is fucking nice. Let it out.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to pull the reins on you a little bit this time. Because even that's a little too much for us.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, but
I survived the wood. I'm a wooden spoon survivor.
Yes.
I'm sure you're a slipper survivor.
Oh, I survived just about anything that can be thrown at me.
Exactly.
And my mom is only 5 feet tall and Puerto Rican. So I have a healthy fear and respect of women.
And especially short women, but when he walks in the house, he looks around for slippers, like, oh, he sees it, starts twitching.
Same thing with my mom. My mom was like a 5 foot tall Italian woman, so I learned how to deal with uppercuts at a very young age. So like, I completely understand. But everyone I think here knows the one situation that happened in your growing upness, I like to call it. It's like when you graduated. You know, exactly. If people listen to this, wondering what does that mean? You graduated? Like, no, you didn't get a diploma. It happens when the wooden spoon breaks, and then she goes. You look at her. She looks at you. You have that moment of like, she's like, it's like the Lion King. It's like she's Rafiki. Like, it is time, and then she reaches for like the metal one, and you're like. Jesus St. Mary.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have to upgrade the weapons now.
No, my mother, she upgraded from the wooden. My grandmother was the wooden spoon. My mother, breadboard.
Oh, breadboard was rough.
She cracked it in half.
Yeah,
No joke. I pissed her off. She cracked a breadboard, a thick breadboard in half. Looks at me. That could have been your head. And she walks outside. I, in my state of panic, lock her out of the house.
As you should.
I run, click.
Yeah.
Called my grandmother. Called my grandparents. I was like, Mom went nuts. She just broke his breadboard. Help me. Click, and I'm hiding under the kitchen table.
now see,
help.
I had the complete opposite though, where my mom had the realization moment where she was yelling at me, and the school called for the stupidest reason, and I didn't even do anything this time. And yet I'm
This time.
yeah, I'm honest about it this time. And it's like, are you kidding me? She's yelling at me, and I tower over my mom. So I'm looking down and realizing how stupid it was. I looked at her and I was just like, do you want me to get you a step stool so you could look me in the eye as you're yelling at me? And she just busted out laughing to the point where she went and she's like, this is so stupid. It's like, because one of the women at the school went and claimed that I said I was the devil, I was going to get her, and that she should get a real job. The kid sitting next to me made me laugh because he said this bitch needs to get a real job. So I took the heat for something somebody else said.
Heat shield.
Yeah, but she added all this extra stuff. And when my mom's yelling at me later, after she finally came home from work, and I said it, and she was just like, this is like saying you're Jesus Christ and I bless you. This is so stupid. It was like we both walked away from it realizing that it's like, all right, you know what?
This is a little dumb.
now it's gone a little too far. But no, that was Red. Red was like, he went off. What was it? The first episode. Yep. He's going off on the neighbor kid. He's making him work. Mm-hmm. And that kid actually fixed the kitchen. Yeah. He fixed everything. The kid was actually good at shit. And that was the 90s. Mm-hmm. They hit the Beanie Baby craze.
Oh my God, that was funny.
That was
everyone thought those things were going to be money.
Oh yeah,
no.
But Red and Kitty selling Beanie Babies like they were drug dealers.
True story. I forgot to mention this. I was so disgusted that they brought that show back. I did not watch it, so I'm listening to this, and it's actually very entertaining.
Oh no, that '90s show. I mean,
it's a good continuation.
It's a good continuation. The first season had like a lot of the characters make their reappearance.
Yeah.
But we know with Danny Masterson's legal issues, he's never coming back. Yeah. And he shouldn't come back.
Ever.
But the funniest element of it is that when you hear about everyone who wrote letters on his behalf.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we know Ashton and Mila Kunis did it. But when you find out that it was Red and Kitty also did it, but you figured they weren't hanging out with the kids back then. They didn't know. They're just going off of the impression they got on set.
And he wasn't doing this stuff back then, by the way. I like to point that out. This happened like 10 years ago.
Oh, no. He was doing this stuff because he was a Scientologist.
Yeah, but this only happened, I believe the only thing that happened was they got him on, the stuff that actually they can prove, what I say it the right way, is they can connect them to was stuff that happened about 10, 12 years ago, right? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's this show was definitely off the air by then.
It was, but at the same time, some of the stuff was with people that he was with during the filming of the show. Oh. So witnesses and everything came out during that. You find, watching the Leah Remini show, Scientology and the Aftermath, you find out, oh, damn, those guys were really keeping shit under wraps. Yeah. I'm amazed. I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but Scientology and the Aftermath with Leah Remini.
I didn't know it was on.
It's on. It's somewhere. It's definitely on the internet.
It was on Netflix for a while. I don't know if it's still there, but it's definitely a great watch for the seasons that they did, because finding out that cult, it's not a religion, it's a cult.
Yeah.
True
story. My favorite thing is when they made fun of Scientology is the episode of South Park.
Yeah.
Where Tom Cruise come out of the closet.
Oh yeah, because it was true.
It was true.
They didn't hide anything.
This is what Scientologists actually believe was the greatest thing ever. And I heard about it in murmurs, okay, whatever.
And then Isaac Hayes leaving the show because he was a Scientologist.
But the best part was that people didn't really notice this until it happened, where at the end of the episode, Tom Cruise is like, I'm going to sue you. Go ahead, Tom Cruise, sue me. It's I'm going to sue everyone that's involved in this show. every single position of that show for that episode was uncredited.
So they couldn't be sued.
So they couldn't be sued. That was perfect.
Oh no! Listen, because we're on like Scientology, I went to one of the WWE Playboy signings back in Times Square when they had the Virgin Mega Store.
Yeah, that was. What was it? The WWE store, was it? Or
no, it was
or
at the Virgin Mega Store.
Gotcha.
So they were doing the signings for the Playboy signings there. While I'm standing in line, I've got people coming up to me, handing me like the flyers and stuff.
Scientology.
And I didn't know what it was. And all of a sudden, I flip over the thing, and it says Dianetics with the picture of the volcano. I'm like, that's what this shit was? That was the cult?
I remember those commercials in the 80s. Read Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, I never knew what it was. I always remember seeing them during the middle of daytime television.
Yeah.
It's like my mom would have her soap operas on, and you would just see a commercial for Dianetics, the volcano erupting, and you're like, what is this?
I remember first hearing about Scientology, and I was like, oh, science, okay. Maybe
Ontology. They're studying science? I don't know how this works.
Like, okay,
you
theory.
think it's something scientific.
scientific,
It's the Big Bang. It's, all these elements coming together to form life.
Nope.
No, we're going to worship a little alien that lives in a volcano. Doing what now?
Yeah. But no, back to that 90s show, like Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes coming in and playing a part throughout the season, like, because basically Kevin Smith is playing Leo's son.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So he's playing Tommy Chong's son.
That's great.
And now, so he's selling the kids weed. And it's
full circle.
And it's him with Jason Mewes. It was, they called it season 3, even though they started it off like it was going to be season 2 part 2, but it's like season 3.
That's fine.
You know what? For what it is, I have to say it's something that I really enjoyed watching, and I didn't want to stop, so I did the full binge.
Okay. How many episodes is it, by the way?
8 episodes.
Each season?
Yeah.
Oh,
like each episode, it's only on season 3.
Okay.
I don't know if they're going to get a season 4. It looked like, because they left it off with like a little bit of a cliffhanger, but the kids that they got to play the kids for the 90s, they do such a great job.
They did their homework.
Yeah, it's like, and they're hitting like so many different points that you're like, oh my God, like like in season 2 they had like what was it, Lisa Loeb video for Stay.
Oh my God.
So they do like the parody stuff for that, where it's like
Lisa Loeb is freaking. I'm sorry, Lisa Loeb was like my '90s crush across the board.
yeah, she's the reason why I have like a big thing for girls with glasses. Especially when they have like the crazier lenses.
Yep.
You're like, oh.
Side
Lisa
note,
Loeb.
my favorite thing of all time is when she popped up in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I was like, you got in the second one. She's like, that song really just like. I was like, wait a minute, that's fucking Lisa Loeb. Holy shit, she looks amazing.
And the fact that she was also for the MTV Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
She was Mary Jane.
Yep.
And I was just like, oh my God, because she worked with Neil Patrick Harris and Ian Ziering.
Yep.
So I was like, that show was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I felt bad that it didn't last longer, but at the same time, it was like, it was on MTV and it was weird CGI stuff. So the animation was a little weird.
It was different.
But that 90s show, season 3, definitely was something that was worth it. It was worth a watch, especially if you're a Kevin Smith fan.
Yeah.
Because seeing him and Jason Mewes, like the kids are using them to buy
weed.
Not just buy weed from them, but also they're like, oh, the kid that's gay on the show, he's underage. He wants to go see an R-rated movie with his date, so he uses them to go get the tickets. And they come back into the theater because now they're like, oh, we didn't know. We felt a little weird letting you guys go and watch a movie because they felt like they're their kids.
Right. Yeah.
So they're acting like they're the parents chaperoning the 2 kids on a date. Meanwhile, the kids are going, like, they left the theater and they sneak in to go see Homeward Bound 2.
Homeward Bound.
Wow.
So
that's stupid ass.
There are so many deep cuts in that. If you grew up in the 90s.
Like, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It hits on a lot. It makes you laugh.
Although I am pissed that 80s show gets such a bad rap.
Yeah.
Because it was a short season, but it was actually good.
It was good. Unfortunately, the timing was wrong because they did it right after that 70s show ended.
They didn't do it right after. They did it while it was still airing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another
It
reason
was
why
towards its
bombed.
final seasons.
Yeah.
So if they would have done
Reform and
that,
left.
They
Reform and
would've
left.
waited.
Yeah.
If they would have waited,
I felt like they were going to jump cast. That's what, to me, honestly, I felt like they were going to blend it together. And I just never watched it. And I was like, when did that come out? Like in 2000?
It was early 2000s, but what happened was while they were doing it, they went and they put that 80 show in California.
Yeah. Mhm.
So you had, I forget the actor's name, but he was the dad on an Unhappily Ever After.
Yeah. He was funny.
Oh, yeah.
That show was great.
2002 it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was away. I was in the military at that time, so I heard about it, and I remember
Yeah.
hearing it's like it must have came out in 2000 because I remember hearing about it, but I just don't remember.
The music on the show alone was great.
Yeah.
It brought back so many memories for me. But I'm sitting there and I was like, it's a shame that show didn't get the love that it deserved at the time.
I think people kind of got like a turn off after Foreman left.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like bled that into like the new show. It's like, well, if that's new and we don't like this, why would we watch this new show that have something we don't like?
I think if they would have waited just like till they got to like 2010 and then did the show, it would have hit harder because the nostalgia would have changed over.
Exactly.
Because it would have given them at least a decade after.
Yeah.
But
running at the same time is a bad move.
Yeah.
So unless you had the characters like literally the end of that season, then they jump right into that show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh wow, I can't believe 10 years ago it was past like the first episode they were in. They're like, oh my god, the show ended. Now they're in this. You know, now they're like older characters. That would be a good bleed. But other than that, if it's completely different characters, I don't think anybody.
Yeah, they wouldn't have picked up on that.
So Mike, was there any AEW pay-per-views recently? Because we're only covering, just so you know, we're only covering the pay-per-views / premium live events here.
The pay-per-views are called live events. I hate that word.
Mostly because
PLP, whatever.
And just to explain
PLE.
for anyone who's just like listening to us for the first time, we're doing it because we're a bi-weekly show.
Yep.
So trying to cover every week.
Yeah.
It's like covering 2 weeks of information, and we're not a predominant wrestling podcast.
Yes.
So, but it is part of our interest.
So we had All In London,
which was fantastic.
which was amazing. Couple
And
botched
we missed
Pamela Angle.
some of it. Had to rewatch it at work.
I know.
Tell them what happened, Mike. Tell
In my defense, I looked up when does AEW All In start, and it said 1 o'clock. And I'm like, fine, 1 o'clock, thinking that's when 0 hour started. No, 0 hour started at 11.
Yeah, he forgot one digit.
well, because he's missing a digit.
But I still got the one that counts, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
I still got the one that counts. So,
Are you sure it really counts?
Perfect 9.25.
hey, guess what, motherfucker? I can do fractions on my phone. What time is it? 1:45.
Technically 9 point. I'm looking at the. Actually, no, wait a minute. Technically, it would be 9.33 and a third.
Yeah.
33 and a third.
The Naked Gun, a 33 and a third.
Then if you take his 33 and a third and you multiply it by, I'm not bad at it. I used to be able to do that.
We're not doing Steiner math.
Yeah.
I'm at 33 and a
Slow
third
Joe.
of winning. I'm like, what?
So
We had All In. Shit, if I can remember that far back.
wow.
I know, no, 'cause
It was good.
I made my notes for last night's Dynamite show.
Not realizing
Not
that
realizing
we
we were
stopped.
doing, stop doing All In. Overall, it was a really good show. We had Jamie Hayter returning.
Yep.
And she
Alright.
was in the Women's Battle Royal. Didn't win, but she
Good
had-
return.
She had a good pop coming out.
Yep.
Okay.
We had, of course, the Young Bucks beating FTR and the Acclaim to retain the tag titles. We had new trios champions.
Yep.
It's Pac now with, or Pac, with
Pac
with Claudio and Wheeler Yuta.
Yep.
So I'm guessing Mox is out of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Well, he's doing his own thing, which we'll touch
which
on
is
later.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause just the last two segments last week of Dynamite, it's just Moxley backstage with me and Shavir beating up local talent.
Beating up everybody.
Local talent. That's what Luke
Local
said. She
talent.
goes, "Oh, local talent." I'm
The
like,
LT,
right.
the LTs, baby.
Yep, local talent. So, main event was Swerve Strickland, champion,
Yep.
versus Daniel Bryan.
Which was freaking fantastic.
A career versus belt match.
Yep.
Now, everybody knows that Danielson said 1,000 times, I'm nearing the end of my career. And I'm thinking, watching the match, okay, going out on your back at Wimbledon, which is AEW's version of WrestleMania, in front of all those people and working for Strickland, which nobody would have given him shit about.
Yep.
I'm like, that would not be a bad way to end your career.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I can totally see him putting on a 10-star match and not laying down, but taking the pin.
Yeah.
Turns out they swerved us, and Danielson won the belt.
Yep.
And we were all like, what just happened now?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, just because he's nearing the end of his career doesn't mean he's over yet.
Right,
Exactly.
but he even said,
It's a reduced. He's going on a reduced schedule.
Yeah, the following week he came out and he's like, I got to tell everybody it's sooner rather than later that, my discs are bulging in my back. He goes, my neck is shot. He goes, but I'm going to stand here and fight every week until the end of my contract. And I was like, rock on. But,
I figured he would have pulled the reins and come in every now and then, every few weeks, take a few weeks off. That would extend his career a little bit.
That's the good thing about AEW because everybody's not on every week.
Yeah.
They give him time to heal up. But he needs years of
Now,
healing.
this is going to be...
He's going to want to be able to pick up his kids.
Exactly. And this is something that I feel like is controversial, if you would. AEW, two things that I'm not a big fan of AEW. I love the people inside the company. I have friends inside the company. Great place. There's two things that bother me about the place. One, it's sporadic. It's you don't know what you're going to get, which is also a plus because now you're not going to have this storyline and every day it's like constant going with it, whatever. That's fine. But at the same time, it fills a void because now people are trying to play catch up to something else and they forget about what they didn't see. And it's television, unfortunately. Television is a market.
Yep.
It's one of the big four. And unfortunately, when television isn't utilized right, you're not going to have a sustainable market for people to come in and go, I want to invest my time, I want to invest my money. When it comes to things like AEW, that's one thing. The second thing is they need to get rid of... I know people who have belts in AEW. I'm friends with them. And the problem is that,
Too many titles?
Yes. Everybody has a belt. Everyone's coming out with a belt.
Wasn't that like the WCW?
Yeah,
issue?
that's exactly. That was the issue with WCW, the hardcore belt, the cruiserweight belt,
the TV championship,
TV championship, the US championship, the heavyweight championship, the tag team championships, the three man trios championships. Everybody has a belt, and that makes the belts that are out there more watered down. And again, I'm not on television. I never was on television. I don't work backstage. I never had the privilege of learning how to do that stuff. But I have friends that I introduced to pro wrestling, like Mandy.
Yeah.
My friend Mandy. She never watched the episode of wrestling a day in her life, and we took her on the Jericho cruise. She had a blast. She goes off. She goes, wow, I can't wait to start watching stuff. She starts watching stuff. She goes, these are literally the things that I was bothered with were the same exact things that she's just like, how come everybody has a belt? I feel like if everyone has a belt, why is it? I was like, holy shit. Like, this is what...
A novice is coming
exactly.
in.
And like, you can sit there and present it as these people are champions. These people are great. Not everybody needs a belt. You know what I mean?
Well, see, that's one of the things that I like about like some of the smaller like independent stuff. Like, wow, Women of Wrestling.
Yeah.
They only have two champion belts. They have the women's championship. They have the tag championship. And then they introduced a trios title, but it's a trophy. So it's like, at least it's not a belt.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did do something a little different.
Because then you pigeonhole yourself. Because then I have to make TV time for all these people. And when a television champion is not on television, well,
What good is your TV champion?
Like when MJF had the U.S. title, freaking phenomenal. I think that needed to stay. I love Will Ospreay to death. I love Will Ospreay to death. He's a great guy.
On the bed, waking up Gabby.
Exactly.
Wake up.
Him, like friggin' bum rushed my wife in bed one time because we woke her up when she was drunk ass and she kicked us out. She was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "All right, go," and we were just like partying.
Yeah.
So what's it called? I love him to death. That should have stayed the U.S. belt. I'm sorry, that's just me personally. But again, everybody has a belt. And in WWE, they do it perfectly.
Yeah,
half the belts on one show, half the belts on the other show.
They've also found like a good balance because they're not defending them all the time, except for maybe like Night of Champions.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's WrestleMania. the Intercontinental belt was put on display, and that was perfect because they didn't do that for years.
Yeah.
They didn't do that for years, and it was so disturbing because I couldn't understand for the life of me why you're not taking this opportunity to make this title $1 million title. Like, not the $1 million belt, obviously. I'm just saying, like, it's a catering belt for a while. They were backstage sitting around, not doing anything. U.S. Championship was defending at WrestleMania. Intercontinental belt was that was shown to be good working, and that was good business because everybody got a piece. That's the beautiful thing about, like, not just all these other belts is everybody got a piece. Back in the day in the 90s, if you had a belt, you were seen as a god. Now it's like, oh, you're just holding a belt.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to talk about, like, the WWE Bash in Berlin.
Oh, that was good.
The Bash in Berlin was a good show, except I kept getting confused and thought it was a 4-card event when it was actually 5 matches. Yeah, because I completely forgot about the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. That match was. It was a good match, but it was also forgettable. Yeah.
I don't think so because it was a strap match. But the thing was,
it was a strap match where by the end of it, CM Punk is kissing a piece of jewelry that he just got back that came out of Drew McIntyre's
That was
crotch.
hysterical. And then he got it shoved down his throat the next day. Yeah. So I think that was kind of an assault. But I understand because I felt like that match, the strap match, came last minute, and it should have been the old school CM Punk does something, whatever. They have something, altercation backstage.
It should have been
beat down with the strap, and then it's like, you two want to keep and then they both crack each other with straps.
It should have been the rubber match. Yeah. It should have been like number 3 to break the tie, not the second match of the series.
See, I thought he was going to steal it when McIntyre had him over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he kept slapping each.
He thought he was just going to turn around real quick.
He get the GTS after each one, and that was beautiful because now that was punishment, and I understand it. The only thing that I felt like it was a rush match, like they did at WrestleMania with Dominic, and then they just kind of put him in a match a little bit. And we went over this. We were on an episode with the podcast where we talked about the WrestleMania with Dominic and what's it called? They screwed up. So the whole thing was like at WrestleMania, it was Dominic and Escobar versus Ray and. Who was it? Who was his partner? It was supposed to be Dragon Lee. Andrade, and then it was Andrade. And then the Philadelphia guys, the freaking shitbag of a team, the Eagles, come out with masks on in Philly and beat the crap out of freaking Dominic.
The largest luchadors.
Exactly. That was ridiculous. And I told about this story. Like, this is how you book that. Again, I'm not someone awesome. I'm not someone famous. I've been a wrestler for 18 years. I'm lucky enough to sit there and still have footing in places that I have. But I have a great wrestling mind, I think. And this is what it should have gone down. The SmackDown beforehand, Raw, whatever it is. What's it called? Andrade's side and Ray Dominic and everyone else on the Judgment Day. They get into a huge brawl. Blah blah blah. Outcome. They're out. Like, you have the Philly, the Eagles on the ring side, whatever. Not. Boom. Wrestlers fall right into their lap. Start fighting. Finally, they start splitting up. I was like, you know what? I like this. We're gonna do this. If you guys are willing, show up at WrestleMania. I got a job for you. You guys are going to be the special enforcers for this match. Yeah. Bam, right there. Everybody in Philly is going to go ape shit over that.
Yeah, there's always other ways around it, but unfortunately, it went the way it did.
Yeah. But this is the rest of it now. This is the rest of it. So now, Philly... Dominic and they're fighting on. They try Dominic's side and Ray's side start trying to fight on one side. Eagles split them up. They try fighting on the other side. Eagles split them up. Now it's just complete half and half. Now you have the spot where everybody just starts getting into each other. Blah 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 blah. Now Dominic goes for the chair. The Eagles come, pull the chair down, crack Dominic. All that beautiful stuff. Crowd gets a pop. Ray hits a 619. They hit him with a spear or something in between hand for football stuff. Football fans are watching. You got wrestling fans watching. Everybody would watch that. Yeah. But they didn't announce it for some reason.
Because they tried to keep certain things under wraps. But, the first match of Bash in Berlin being the Universal title match.
That was bad. That was bad form.
It was bad form, but it was a good match. Yeah. And it set up good storyline because eventually, the conflict with Kevin Owens on his own, fighting his own instincts, was really dramatic. It worked really well. we just have to see where the payoff comes on that one. But
that's going to lead to a heel turn because
Yeah.
now he's going to realize his instincts are going against him. He has to fight against it.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So
Now Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair taking on the Unholy Union. I love the Unholy Union. And I wish they would have got to hold the belts longer,
Yeah.
but I understand why they made the change.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you take a look at Jade Cargill, you can't make an action figure look better than she already looks.
Yep.
She looks like she stepped out of a comic book. So they wanted to give it to the baby faces.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised that they lost, but I was like, I hate the fact that Isla Dawn's the one that took the pin.
Yeah.
Because it was like, Isla Dawn, I feel like she's underrated.
yeah.
And then we had the strap match. We had the Terror Twins taking on Dominic and Liv.
Yeah.
Terror Twins.
Yeah.
I come up with a better name than that.
Yeah,
You know what though?
Terror Twins.
Listen.
Oh, the Australian and the 6'2" freaking 6'7" Puerto Rican from Bronx, New York. Yeah, okay. Yeah, those are twins to me.
Listen.
Just because freaking what's her name, Rhea Ripley just learned how to say "Hola," does it like freaking Dora the Explorer? Doesn't mean that she's freaking the twins.
The thing is though, I love Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest.
Yes.
So the match went the way it should
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
And
Dominic getting his payback.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was full circle because you figure Rhea like beating up Dom to get him to join the Judgment Day, had her knees wrapped around his head,
Yep.
and then getting to do it again. Great spot.
Yep.
And the pretzel roll up, as
Yeah.
Rhea calls it, but it's more every man's fantasy.
Yeah, basically.
That's what Damian Priest even said.
Yeah, it's like it was a great match, and then you have the championship match with Gunther versus Orton.
The
That
old
was-
school sleeper hold was, I'm telling you, I always said like their finishes are absolutely amazing in WWE, and they know what they're doing, and they get the story going. Whatever. To have an old school finish like that was freaking perfect.
You don't see it all that
Perfect. Because I feel like some guys are like, listen, brother, that don't really work for me. The super home makes me looks like a jabroni. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but-
shut up and make it look great.
The fact that it was Orton, though. Orton is a guy who he's already been there.
Yep.
He's been to the top so many times, and he's willing to do the job for somebody else. And
in that fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
And not only that, but that match went long. I was not expecting it to go as long as it did.
Once I knew they had 5 matches, I was like, they're going to fill this with like a couple matches going a little bit longer than the
And
others.
that one really was the longest match on the card.
And it didn't drag.
No,
Yeah.
it rode the roller coaster of going up and come right as the momentum started going down. They started rebuilding right back up again, and they went as good as they could get with that one, especially because if you're going to put the belt on Gunther, who just finished the longest reign for the Intercontinental Championship.
He's got to look strong doing it.
Yeah, you can't just have him come out after a 666-day record with the IC belt to then go and not be able to retain and look strong.
Yeah.
And especially when you have the niche on your belt that you beat Orton and you put him to sleep. Bro, they're rebuilding another Roman Reigns. That's exactly what it is.
And that was,
not the streak-wise or anything like that, but credibility. Yeah. Every time Roman stepped in the ring, you were like, that guy's the best. And with these wins, people don't realize that if you can't sit there and, I mean, he's a heel champion. For him to beat Orton with a sleeper hold as a bad guy, as not even a coward, but a strong bad guy, the guy that's going to sit there and say, I'm going to beat you up and then put you to sleep, bro, his stock just rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, we're going to end the episode after we talk about the movie because that's where I'm going to put in the footage from AnimeNYC, which was an amazing experience.
Always fun.
Always a blast. I got some great interviews, so that's going to come towards the end of the episode. But I want to talk about the movie Incoming on Netflix. Now, I know, Mike, you got really confused when I told you which movie we were watching.
Like incoming, outgoing, indeed.
No, but the title of the movie is Incoming. It's one of those coming of age stories. What was your impression of it?
Watching it, I got the feeling I'm watching a little bit of Dazed and Confused, a little bit of honestly The Perfect Score.
Yep.
And
Okay.
They were trying to bring back like the teen comedy, like with a little bit of the raunchy stuff. So you had like some of those elements in there from like American Pie. You had Dazed and Confused.
I got Dazed and Confused.
You know,
a little bit of Perfect Score with. But you
also had a little bit of like Revenge of the Nerds, kind of Porky's, but they were trying to keep it where it would age better than like a Porky's.
Which is good in the fact that you can tell the producers and the director and the writer did their work and they watched those films where when you watch it, you're like, okay, this is this character.
Yeah.
And the overall feel of the film is like, okay, I like Dazed and Confused. I'm watching this.
Yeah,
it still has it has like that familiar feel to it.
Yeah,
it was a funny film. I enjoyed it. I can't quote shit from it right now.
You wouldn't be able to quote anything from there because it's not a quotable movie.
Yeah, it's not like Step Brothers.
No.
You know,
we become best friends.
No,
I'm not calling him Dad. Even if there's a fire.
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, the speech that the kid gave went hard, especially on the guy fucking his mom.
Yes,
because he's in the Tesla after they had already cleaned it up. After they got the popular girl shit all over the car,
and she's eating tacos in the back.
Yeah, like she literally shit all over. They were freaking out from the shit. They helped clean her up. That you see them like they went to the store, walking through the store, slow motion as they're getting like all the cleaning supplies.
That's funny.
It was one of those moments, and then it's like he lays into this guy who's been banging his mom, and it's like because he's like, you can call me Dad, and it's like finally
no,
like
he
snaps at the end, tells him off, and then tells him there was shit all over the car. We did the best we could clean it up, but I'm pretty sure if you take a good enough whiff, you can still smell a little bit of it in between the seats. It was like, oh shit.
Like the perfect, like, just F you, don't patronize me. There was a movie, what was it called? With the three kids where they were like a little innocent but stupid at the same time.
Three Ninjas?
Nope. Yes, that's exactly what it was. It came out like a couple years ago. The fat black kid, the skinny white kid.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about.
What was where they the babysitter or whatever's being bribed? What was the name of it?
I see the kid's face.
Yeah, I know.
Was that the babysitter with Jonah Hill?
No.
It had the kid from I see this kid's face.
Not Bad Kids. That sounds stupid.
There was a movie called Bad Kids, but I think that was like 80s, 90s.
Yeah. No, this is. Something.
You guys are gonna keep looking for this.
We are.
Yeah. See, I went and like because right before I watched Incoming, I actually
watched Outgoing.
No, I actually went and I was watching the movie Angus.
Was that it?
No, Angus.
Good Boys. Good Boys. That movie, like that.
I couldn't get into that when I started to try to watch it.
It was hard, but it was so good because the kids do such a great job of acting. Like they almost play like an adult role at some points, and then they play this stupid kid role. Yeah. And it's just like, this is a great balance.
But yeah, I kind of compared Incoming to a little bit like Angus.
Angus, that's a good movie.
It's so underrated.
Yeah.
Where Angus really was, like, and it was James Van Der Beek's first movie. But it was like the kids that are the kid misfit.
That's the kid with the fat kid, right?
Yeah. Fat kid, fair at football, good at science.
Yeah.
It was like they had an all-star cast in that one from up and comers, and you were like, I went back to watch that, and I'm watching Incoming. I'm like, this is the kind of vein that they went with, where it's like the kids feel more empowered by the end, but at the same time, it's like we're still going to do a bunch of stupid shit.
Yeah.
So
just like kids in real life.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. Incoming definitely was one of those movies where it was like, I saw the trailers for it, and I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I was like, you know what? This one should be kind of interesting to talk about because the teacher in the movie, they got the cool teacher. I think we've all had that one cool teacher where you were like, I'd party with this dude.
Yep.
And
he was like not even a teacher. He was just somebody who showed up to work.
Yeah, and he shows up. It's like you can tell his life is a mess. Yeah. He's like trying to call his buddies to hang out. It's like all of his friends are married. It's like one of his friends. It's like, yo, wife still got you by, and it's like, oh, the cancer's still there. It's like I thought she was in remission. It was like weird joke, but at the same time,
silly cancer.
You could tell that it was like he can't find any friends, but he's hanging out with a bunch of high school kids. And it like comes into the classroom, cool teacher doing science stuff that it's like, all right, you know what? You guys show up, you maintain a B average, we're going to be good. But he goes and shows up at the kids' party, and it's like to see him and
doing the shots that's on fire.
Oh yeah, he's basically making flaming shots with the kids. At
one kid gets set on fire, he dies in a pool.
Oh no, yeah, he set himself on fire because he decides he's got Everclear and a lighter, so he's spitting fire.
Oh my God, that's great.
And I'm sorry, but nowadays I've seen the TikTok challenges and stuff with the kids trying Everclear.
Oh my God.
And it's like trying to take Everclear with a straight face.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. That's 90 proof.
Yeah, your kids are screwed.
It's like, I'm sorry, but you're basically drinking Drano at that point.
You want to see a kid shit his liver in live TV? You watch those videos.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I thought they were dumb for trying, like, the Tide Pod stuff.
See, that Tide Pod thing, here's the thing. The Tide Pod thing, I feel bad. Like, we can't label an entire generation off that. It's not like kids are popping them like freaking Xanax or anything like that. But here's the thing.
No, but they're doing stupid shit.
All it was a bunch of idiots, like 5 to like 50 people tried it, and they made a whole entire generational thing. That's stupid.
But when you go and you see like these 20-something-year-olds now trying Everclear, and you're just like, dude, Everclear is what you add into something.
Exactly.
You do not try to drink Everclear straight.
Yeah.
You know, most of the stuff that when we were younger that we had access to, it was like...
I mean, we weren't the smartest kids anyway. I like to point that out. Because I remember the pass out challenge?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, so we were
put each other in chokeholds, for Christ's sakes.
But yet, none of that's on film.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
you just have our word to go by.
Yeah. And I say that too. Like, people think that, like, oh, this generation is always the worst. Listen, every generation is the goddamn worst. You know why?
We were the next generation.
We were all bad.
Yeah,
but there's no proof.
Right.
Exactly.
Like Gen X, there was no proof of the shit we
Gen
did.
X. Yeah.
Like the millennials, they started having stuff where it was like they were taking more photos. So it's like they don't have video of it, but they have more photos.
Exactly.
Nowadays, though, with the cell phones, these kids have access to making sure that their most embarrassing moments live forever and they don't think about it.
Yep.
And then they wonder why, when they go on a job interview, and it's like they check their socials, get checked for the background, and it's like, wow, why are there so many pictures and videos of you completely shit-faced, wearing your underwear on your head, streaking down the street?
And kids, remember this. That's why you have the work social media and then the real social media.
Yeah.
Let's not be stupid. I mean, you have to be a real idiot to be like, I'm sorry, like, if you're putting that stuff on social media, you don't deserve a job. You deserve to live in the box underneath the bridge. That's what I'm saying.
That's one of the reasons why I can respect, like, the VTubers, that, like, they're using an avatar so you don't see their face.
Exactly.
So they can still go out, do stuff. It's not like a Mr. Beast, where you see Mr. Beast, you know who it is.
And that guy also has, like, billions of dollars. So
but also a lot of controversy coming out lately because of his Amazon show that he's doing, like, the Mr. Beast games. Like, kind of like a Squid Games, but Mr. Beast.
Oh, I love it. I think that's great. I think if you're going to sit there and sign up for something that's trivial like that, listen, don't watch Japanese video competition shows, because you're gonna have a really bad time.
Oh yeah, but
listen, it's for entertainment. Listen, if people are gonna sit there and complain about stuff like that, like, well, you're putting on a show that makes people look kind of stupid, it's like, well, guess what?
That's
You ever watch Survivor? You ever watch MTV The Challenge? All those people.
Did you watch Fear Factor?
Did you watch Fear Factor? That was my next one. Fear Factor people ate roach testicles, for Christ's sake. Like, and you're gonna sit there and tell me, like, that was back in like the early 2000s, and now we're gonna complain about stuff. Like, we set the precedents, okay?
Yeah, it's like Jackass was a TV show. It's not like it wasn't a thing.
Baby. Some of it was shot here on Staten Island in the golf course.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, you get a show nowadays like Impractical Jokers, where it's like, it's funny, but they're not out there doing anything malicious.
Right. Exactly.
It's not hurting anyone.
Except for when you're Q in one episode with the pictures. With the kids. And he got draw an X on them, and they were like, okay, Q, next thing is you got to draw an X on that kid's thing. It's like, no, I'm not going to. So they go, okay, fine, you lose a challenge. Like, all right, I'll lose a challenge, whatever. They cut the mic and go, Q just lost. So that means technically he's the episode's loser. So we're going to make him sit there and put X's on everybody else's picture, on all the kids' pictures that they just drew, and say, hey, Q, you just lost. So guess what that means? You're today's episode. Your punishment, you have to draw X's on every single kid's thing. And his face dropped. It was the hardest one to watch, because these kids were just like, they made these beautiful paintings. And Q just walked over to it and was just like, And the kid's literally going, please don't do it. Please not mine. Please not mine.
Yeah.
It's like, she was like, I'm so sorry. The kid's saying no. It's like, do it. They were in the back. They were no, they weren't dying. They were horrified. They're
those kids. You could see those kids like crying. They're tearing up. Like it was like, are you kidding me?
I feel like Q has like my favorite ones, like especially when he had to go to Jersey and like he had to present the mural that they spent all this city money on. I was like, yeah, we bankrupted the whole entire city damn near, but this is your painting, and it's like a mural that says like Jersey, this part of Jersey sucks, and like it's like someone bent over with their ass out or something like that. And you see him, he has to describe what it means as the artist and why he took all the money, and they were like, we don't like this, we want our money back. It's like, well, unfortunately we don't do refunds.
That's the thing, it's not as malicious, and they're only torturing each other.
Exactly. It's self-mutilation, which is fun.
And they're not doing anything that's crossing a line.
Yeah, they never walked up to somebody like, there's people on YouTube, man, I'm surprised there's not more murders on these guys. There's one guy who walks up to people and says, yo, you want to get sliced? And in like Harlem, like not in Harlem, in like freaking Bed-Stuy.
That's because a lot of that is all staged.
No, there was one episode where the guy pulled out a gun on him.
Oh yeah,
and like I think the cops actually got involved. He goes, "Yo, you want to get sliced? Yo, you want to get sliced?" He's like, "No, bro, we got pizza." And he's like, "Yo, you think I'm playing with you, bro?" He's like, "No, bro, do you want pizza?" He's like, pulls out a gun and it's like, "Yo, I will kill you right now, bro." Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like these prank challenges and stuff. They're not funny. They're taking it to a different level.
The one that is funny though, I'll tell you this one.
Which
There's
one?
a guy in Venice Beach. So they have showers on the outside, right? And there's a wall, right? A really high wall, about maybe like an 8-foot tall wall. So he stands on one side, people showering on the other side. It's like down to the ground, right? So it's like an extra 2 feet in front of them, right? So he sits there and they're washing off all the beach stuff and everything. They start using shampoo, and he'll reach over with a little bottle of shampoo and just keep squeezing it as they're getting washed. And they're just like, it's these huge jack guys that are like, they can barely touch their heads because their biceps are in the way, and they're like rubbing their head. Bro, what the hell, bro? Bro, what the hell, bro? You see like all the roid rage coming out, like, yo, I'm gonna kick somebody for this, bro. Like, you know, and then the women who have like this super long hair, they look like freaking, they just dove into an avalanche, you know what I mean? And they're just walking out and they're just completely covered in suds. They're like, oh my God, Becky, what's going on? I can't get it out. It's in my eyes. It's like, and they're both sitting there like trying to rub it out. And it's so funny. And you see people watching this, like they know what's going on. Yeah. But these people are, if you Google it, it's like shampoo prank. Yeah. It is hysterical.
But that's like a fun prank.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like
you're not like, it's not bleach.
Yeah. You know, you're not seeing somebody like spraying hair dye on their heads as they're doing it.
That would be fun.
And I am not advocating that.
We do not advocate this here.
We are not trying to give anybody any ideas.
Bleach is not your friend. Do not do it, kids.
Yes. So unless you're going to watch the anime Bleach, which
is awesome.
Good. But no, like that's
screw you, Anson.
Yeah. There's so many different things that are out there for entertainment, and it's
We're
like,
one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
You can definitely listen to us, and you can make sure you can email us at dragoonslayerpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslayerpodcast@gmail.com. Yes, I do this all the time.
That's fine. I do mine.
All right. So during the recording session, I actually forgot to segue into the AnimeNYC footage. So without further ado, I want you all to take a look at our AnimeNYC footage from 2024. Thank you, AnimeNYC, so much for having us, and hopefully we'll get to see you guys next year.
We're here at AnimeNYC. It's a busy weekend. I didn't get a chance to do one of these on day 1, but it's day 3. Day 2, my legs were dead. I couldn't make it, but I'm definitely here for day 3. So got plenty of footage of walking around the showroom floors. We're getting some interviews with some cosplayers and hopefully some influencers, and hopefully you guys will enjoy everything, and it'll make you want to go and check this out next year.
Okay, so when we got to AnimeNYC, it really was a lot to take in. The Javits Center is huge, but one place we had to definitely check out first was, well, Henry got distracted. We were able to go and take a look at the Japan Society, where they were creating some amazing artwork. They let a lot of people know about the culture going on in Japan. It is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend reaching out to Japan Society and checking out any of the events that they have. they really do a lot of great stuff, and their stuff was like really upfront. And to have the whole weekend of the artists creating artwork that I didn't get the chance to get the full artwork done by the end. I think our photographer that was with us, Stephanie, she was able to really get like photos of everything, and we'll make sure that we interview her, and we'll have links for her Instagram so people can check out the art, her photographs, because I'm sure she got tons of stuff from this, and it was absolutely amazing. And like I said, our stagehand Henry, we kind of lost him at the cosplay areas, because every time he saw weapons or a new jacket, he wanted to check those out, so we lost him at one point. And it was actually pretty funny, because trying to be able to see what was going on and find our actual colleague was very difficult, because he just was so overwhelmed. It really is a sensory overload being there, but it's an amazing time. There's so many people, so many different booths, the cosplay accessories that were there, the clothing, the different merchandise, you had different cosplayers, you had game books, you had Artist Alley. There was so much that I don't even think we were able to cover every single thing, and hopefully we'll be able to cover those things next year if we're able to go back, because they did a phenomenal job at the Javits Center with AnimeNYC. I got to thank the Japan Society again for allowing us to shoot footage of the artists in process of making their incredible artwork. Thank them so much for that.
Hey, I'm here at AnimeNYC with Jackie Jing. You are phenomenal at everything I've seen you doing online. I love your content. You're very fun. I actually discovered you on TikTok.
Oh, cool.
Can you tell us how you got started?
Yeah. When it comes to hosting or content creation?
Both.
Okay. Hosting, I was a TV news anchor for 10 years, and then a few years ago I was like, F it, I'm going out to LA and I'm going to see if I can get into anime and gaming. I worked at IGN for a little bit, and then after that I just went freelance, and I've been able to work with some amazing companies. Since we're at an anime convention, Crunchyroll, High Dive, Anime News Network, Yen Press, Toei Animation, a bunch of different gaming stuff, hosted E3 in 2021. It's been a long list of really amazing companies, and feel super blessed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was about it. I think that people are always like, well, how did you get the IGN job? I just applied online. I went to their website and went to careers, and I just applied online. So you never know, right? So that was it.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, you do a bunch of cosplay. What's some of your favorite characters to cosplay?
Oh my God. Okay. I always love to do Boa. I'm 6'2", and she's 6'3", so she's my tall queen, and Boa Hancock just has this incredible energy. She's just such a baddie, and she's so powerful, and I love the line where she's like, I could crush kittens, but I'm just so beautiful, no one would care, and some people are like, oh my God, she's awful. But the thing is, she became so hardened because of this really terrible past, and trying to protect her sisters and trying to protect herself. So I as you can tell, I'm very, very passionate about Boa. I love doing Nico too, another tall queen. One Piece got those lanky ladies, so I love that. And then I love JJK, so I'm doing a little bit of Itadori right now.
Yeah. So. Well, it's funny because for One Piece, those are actually two of my favorite female characters.
We love the tall queen.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm only 5'8", so
Hey, we love our short kings too.
Yeah.
Luffy, right?
Yeah. So now, some of your favorite anime, what would you recommend for someone?
Wow. Okay. When people are not into anime and they're like, I want to get into anime, I always recommend Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I think it is like the best gateway anime. I think it's just like really good storytelling, really dark, tragic moments. It's got like the action, it's got heartfelt moments. So like I always, if someone's trying to get into anime, that's always the one that I say. My top 3 anime of all time: Cowboy Bebop, which I've tattooed on my side, Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I have a tattoo right here, but I can't show it, maybe a peek. Kind of. You can see like a little bit of it. And then I always say Gungrave, which is a super underrated anime. It has like major Berserk vibes. It's about like these 2 guys who are just in this like terrible situation. They're like really young. They're trying to work their way up, and then they both get involved with the mafia. And you see how both of these like relatively like innocent young men descend into evil in completely different ways, and they are just completely different, and it's just it's a heart-wrenching story. Nobody talks about it, and it's like one of the best anime of all time.
Okay, I definitely agree. I've seen Gungrave. Yes,
Oh my
I
God.
actually have.
Love it. Brandon Heat, baby.
Oh yeah, Gungrave is like, it's one of those deep cuts.
Deep cuts. I love a tall, quiet, brooding man, like my 7-foot boyfriend over here. He's just like, why are you talking about me? We're complete opposites. He like hates me on camera. So anyway, yes.
No, so when you're going to conventions, what's one of the biggest tips you can give people for their attending a con if it's like their first time?
Oh my God, I love that question. Always know where the easiest bathroom line is. I literally, here at the Javits Center, if you go to AnimeNYC or New York City Comic Con, just go down to the food lobby area, and then you go down to the leftish if you're looking towards like that big hall there. Sorry, this is like super specific, but like I know where I can go to the bathroom easily because there's like tons of lines everywhere. I also think like people sleep on going to the website. I have ADHD. I get very overwhelmed when I see a lot of text, but like I buckle down, I go to the website, I look up the cosplay meetups, and I like create a good schedule. And I think that's like I would really advise people just go to the website, create a really good schedule, and know where to go to the bathroom. Drink lots of water, and make sure you eat too, because I'll get so caught up, I'll forget to drink and eat. So. Well,
see, those are some great tips. Also, I would add, make sure you always have an extra charger with you.
I forgot that one. I have fallen victim to that one way too many times. There's nothing worse than wanting to get like cosplay, like photos with someone or an interview, and then you're like, oh, my phone's dead. That sucks.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Please tag me. I'd love to see it.
So, can you tell us who you are and how long you've been cosplaying for?
Sure. So my name's Louise. IG's Avocado at Law. I've been cosplaying for too long, probably 15 plus years maybe. I started when I was 18, 19. I'm about 35 now, so 17 years I guess.
Okay, so what got you interested in cosplay?
So I'm a huge geek, right? I love comics, anime, all that stuff. I grew up on Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and it was just it was like a way to connect with my community.
Okay.
To meet other like-minded people. So I guess I got into conventions first, like going to anime conventions. I was like, whoa, everybody's dressed up as characters, and it slowly built up,
Okay, what are some of your favorite characters to cosplay as?
So my number one favorite is probably Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
So you probably can't tell from this, but I've got a bald head underneath here, so it's perfect. And I love his character. I love Avatar. It's one of my all-time favorites. If I'm going to be doing like the whole female role, it's my first time doing Tifa, and it's a lot of fun. So she's definitely up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any issues, or has anybody like really ever commented on your cosplays? Like if there's any positive or real negative reactions to them?
So I've gotten a decent amount of positive reactions. I think a lot of people tend to be friendly. I've heard nothing negative to my face. Like sometimes when I'm like in Femma, I do see some like looks, stuff like that.
Okay.
Or somebody like, hey, like today, someone was like, hey, Tifa, and I looked back and he's like, whoa, and I was like, all right, guy, whatever, So, but no one like says anything expressly to me. It's overall, I think, positive. yeah, positive.
Well, that's good. And so now, what recommendations do you have for people who want to get involved in cosplay?
So I think just feel it out, like dip your toe in first. Don't feel the need to just like dive in head first. You know, like go to a convention, look around, meet people. Maybe start with something simple and small and slowly build your way up. I don't think it should ever be like something where you feel pressured to be the best. And I think a lot of people tend to try to be cosplay accurate and perfect. It's just nonsense. Just have fun.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you having a word with us.
Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks. And tell everybody who you're cosplaying.
My name is Michael, and I'm cosplaying Zach from Final Fantasy.
All right. Now, most people would have went with Cloud. Why'd you go with Zach?
So I personally like Zach a lot. I akin myself to his character a little bit more than Cloud's, simply because Zach is more of like, I want to protect my friend, I want to do what's good, and that's more or less like how I am.
Okay. So now, how long have you been cosplaying for?
I've been cosplaying soon, coming up on like a year. My first time cosplaying was Comic-Con last year, actually.
Oh, nice. So what got you interested in cosplay?
So originally I've always wanted to do cosplay when I was younger, but my dreams were a little too big, and so I kind of gave up on it for a while until one of my friends came up to me and was like, hey, like, you know, cosplaying's for everyone. You don't have to do extravagant things. You can just do something simple and then just get your foot in the door. And ever since then, I've loved seeing the community. I love all the praise people get. I love how kind and friendly everybody is, and it's just a welcoming community.
Okay. Now, let me get, what's your biggest anime hot take?
My biggest anime hot take?
Yeah.
Aizen from Bleach did nothing wrong. Everything he did was for the better of the Soul Society.
Wow. Now, that is a hot take. So now, who are some of your favorite characters, though, to cosplay that you've done within the year so far?
So my number one character that I cosplay is Law from One Piece.
Okay.
And my number two is Roxas from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, nice. Love a good Roxas cosplay.
Love a good Roxas.
All right. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
appreciate it. What's your name, and tell us who you're cosplaying?
My name is Sam, and I am dressed as Blake Belladonna from Ruby, but more of a casual version of her.
Okay. So, what got you into cosplay?
So I would watch a lot of cosplay videos growing up, and I was already into games and anime because of my brothers and my uncle. So it just happened naturally. I'm also an artist, so they overlap for each other. So
All right.
it was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah. So now, what are some of the characters you like to cosplay?
I like to cosplay as Maka from Soul Eater, Rin from Blue Exorcist. I'm trying to dabble into more other series like Clarion the Witch Boy from DC Comics. Those are fun.
Okay. So now, what's an anime hot take that you have?
I don't really have one.
Everybody's got one opinion that is a little controversial.
I don't know if it's controversial, but I would say Ashura from Soul Eater did nothing wrong.
Okay.
He has reasons for what he did.
Everybody's got reasons.
Exactly. And if you really listen to his words, you will start to understand why he was like that.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right. So I'm here at AnimeNYC with Eryn, not Aaron, one of my favorite creators, and Black Lagoon's probably, I would say, biggest fan.
Probably. Close enough, yeah.
So now, what got you started in doing the skits because your writing is amazing for these characters.
Thank you so much. So what got me into this series personally, like, I've always been a huge fan of it. I stumbled upon it at an age that I probably should not have, but like most of us do. I went to school for writing. I wanted to be a screenwriter, and then the pandemic hit, and I was just like trying to figure out ways to like finally like embrace my writing style and just get back into the swing of things of screenwriting. So I found a bunch of like headcanon skits that I wrote when I was in college of Lagoon Company Office, and I'm like, what if I just acted out as all the characters and see what would happen? And it just took off from there.
Now, you've done such a great job like encapsulating these characters.
Thank you.
Because you actually got me to go back and watch the series. I had only seen like a couple episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
But I was able to go back and watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So how is it that you were able to like really nail down like the characters' personalities?
So each character, it's just like what is their most prominent trait? And also like different flaws that could also make other traits come out. So like Revy, for instance, like it's her anger, like it's vents her frustration and just like kind of like her ability, like kind of like getting irritated by Rock so easily and him like not being able to adjust. Rock just being so innocent in everything and just finding different ways to like play upon that innocence in a way. Benny is kind of in the same shoes as Rock, where he was just brought into this like with no question or no other outlet. So he's just like, I calmed down, you gotta get used to this, and like just like chill and cool as a cucumber. And then Dutch is just like the leader and like trying to like basically rally all of his children that he unwillingly adopted, even though he was like, I saved, oh shit, I don't know what to do with you right now, crap. So it's like stuff like that. And then Edda is just promiscuous as all hell. And like, I've always loved that joke in the show because it's just a nun being as promiscuous as she is, but she plays on it and she like purposely does not know anything about the Bible. And I'm like, I relate to that, so I just wanted to play that up too.
So now you're cosplaying as Revy,
Yes.
which you are pretty much what I would say is the ideal Revy. Like you
Thank you.
encapsulate the character.
Yes.
But what other characters do you like cosplaying as?
Well, Revy's the only one that I've like really done outside of my content, but I really do want to get like an actual like Edda cosplay together. Also Balalaika. I love my badass women.
Okay.
Yes.
And now, how can people get to watch your stuff? Because I know, like, sometimes it can be a little.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, we're filming something. Yep.
No, it's all right. We do it.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Okay. So you can find me Eryn on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. I've been streaming a lot on Twitch, which is why you haven't seen a lot of my content lately. And then also Instagram. So that's more of my cosplay photos. But yes.
Thank you so much.
Of
I'm a
course.
huge fan.
Thank you so much. I'm honored that you said that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? So, why don't you tell me your name and who you're cosplaying? So, for the people who don't know.
No problem. My name is Jen, and I am cosplaying as Recovery Girl from My Hero.
Now, you don't see a lot of recovery girls. What made you want to cosplay as Recovery Girl?
Honestly, I just love the power of being able to heal, so that's what really drew me to her.
Okay. So, how long have you been cosplaying for?
This will be 3rd or 4th year.
Okay.
This is my first time at AnimeNYC though.
First time at AnimeNYC?
Yeah.
So, who are some of your favorite characters to cosplay?
One of my favorites is Sadness. She's one I've done every single year. And then the newest one that I've done just last year and then we'll be doing again this year at New York Comic Con is Ursula.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, what's an anime hot take that you have?
I don't know that I have one. You see, I grew up not being into anime and then very recently became in love with it. I'm loving Spy Family right now. That's like my biggest draw in, and then my friend got me recently into My Hero, so I don't know that I necessarily have a hot take just because I'm such a newbie, but I'm loving every bit of it.
Okay, so what tip would you give for anyone who wants to start cosplaying?
Okay, so I was very nervous to start. Just take your time and watch a lot of tutorials and just go for it and don't be afraid, because this was my first one that I did more of my own stuff on instead of getting help from my friend.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It was good to meet you.
So, tell us what's your name and who you're cosplaying as today.
My name is Sam, and I'm cosplaying Cherry Blossom from Skate the Infinity.
Okay, now, who are some of the characters you enjoy cosplaying?
My biggest one is Percy DeRollo from Critical Role. That's my favorite to cosplay because I get to have the big puppet thing that I get to carry around and it smokes. So that's my favorite. And I also do a lot of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, now you just won the competition.
That was my friend.
Your friend won?
My friend won.
Okay, so
Not me.
but you were taking part in the competition,
Not
right?
this year, no.
Not this year?
Yeah.
So do you take part in the competitions
Yes.
often?
Last year we got runner-up for the intermediates.
Okay. Now, how long have you been cosplaying for?
Around 10 years.
Okay, what got you involved in cosplay to begin with?
I was really big into the anime and pop culture scene in high school, and my friend, who isn't here today, she introduced me to the whole scene, and I've been addicted ever since.
Okay, so now what would your best recommendation be for people who want to start cosplaying be?
Start small. It could get really easy to be discouraged when you start like on a big cosplay and it doesn't work out because you don't have the correct skill set to join it. If it falls apart before you even get to the convention, that could be something that's really discouraging. So my suggestion would be start small, build your skill set up, And it takes time. It's a craft that does take time. It doesn't seem like it, but it does.
Okay, and what would you say is your biggest anime hot take?
I hate Eren Yeager. Honestly, he's my least favorite character, and he's been wrong since day one.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Erin deserves a little hate every now and then, even though my wallet.
I've been a hater since day one.
All right. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So, tell us who you're cosplaying as and how long you've been cosplaying for.
I'm currently cosplaying Joe from Skate the Infinity. I've been cosplaying since like 2019, so almost 5 years.
Okay. Yeah. What got you into cosplay in the first place?
So I originally started in like making costumes for theater, and then I met a bunch of people through work who were also giant nerds like I was, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go to New York Comic Con with us?" And I was like, "Obviously I do." And so it started there and sort of escalated.
So now, what are some of your favorite characters to cosplay?
I started primarily as a Critical Role cosplayer. So one of my all-time favorites is Keyleth or Vax, really. Those are two of the main characters I cosplayed for a long time.
Okay. Now, what would you recommend for anybody who wants to start getting into cosplay?
YouTube is full of great tutorials and a lot of like the basic things. Like even if you buy a cosplay from like Amazon, take the time to like steam or iron it, just get the wrinkles out. It can make the biggest difference in the appearance.
Okay. Now, what are your tips for anybody who wants to come to a convention like for the first time?
Wear comfortable shoes, make sure you hydrate, and pick like 3 things that you want to do the most and focus on that so you don't get overwhelmed.
Okay, and what's your biggest anime hot take?
Anime hot take. Well, since I'm cosplaying Skate, the villain in Skate is weird for so many sinister reasons, and not just the reasons that the show tells you that it is sinister. Like, it is weird that he is hyperfixated on a teenage boy.
All right, well, thank you so much. It was great to talk to you.
Great to meet you.
Okay, so I'm here with StrawHat Goofy. I love the name, by the way. How'd you come up with it?
Fun fact, I didn't come up with it at all. So I was in the market of like getting a new Instagram handle. At first it was Mr. Quote 123 because I quote a lot of movies. It was awful. And I really wanted one, but I couldn't figure it out. And then one day my best friend and I were kind of hanging out, and he knew I was like binging One Piece at the time, and he knows I love the Goofy movie. So he just said, "Okay, whatever, StrawHat Goofy." And I said, "Say that again." Yeah. And the rest is history after that. Okay. He never lets me forget it.
Now you go and you talk a lot about movies and TV shows. What got you like really interested in it? Because I have my degree in film.
Yeah.
But what got you involved in it?
Well, I just really loved it as a child, but I didn't know that it was a love for it. It was just the way I connected with the world. All my conversations always started with like, "Hey, did you see this movie?" or "Hey, here's a movie quote," whatever. And it wasn't until I got into high school where like my drama teacher like made me realize my love for like storytelling. And then it wasn't until I got into college where I was like, wow, there's classes on this thing. And so I like kind of took a couple of classes, but didn't go to film school. A hot second I wanted to be a screenwriter, but my aunt told me to do something more practical. I became a copywriter, and that's where I was. I was working as a copywriter in advertising. And I just kind of like fell into making movie content because I will talk about it with anybody, anywhere, anytime. And I just did it one day on the internet, and then it just kind of blew up. And so it just basically just took the truest version of myself, and now I'm just putting it on the internet for people to see.
And I love your content. You give like off such like a real genuine person when you're talking to people. Like, I may not always agree with some of your recommendations.
As you should. Like, you have your own opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, everybody's tastes are going to be different.
Absolutely.
But what's one of the best moments that you've gotten from your career of being an influencer so far?
Yes. So I have to. I usually say when Ryan Coogler recognized who I was, but it got overtaken just 2 weeks ago at D23 when I met the director of the Goofy movie, Kevin Lima. And the way it happened was so weird and so bizarre and so surreal. I was minding my own business, and this older gentleman just puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Hey, Juju, it's about time we met. I'm Kevin Lima." And it was such a weird freak out like moment. Like I didn't know where I was. So I did what most black people do when they get excited. I ran away like 20 feet. And he was just kind of like, wow, that's the best reaction I've ever got. And I was just like, dude, like you crafted my entire personality since like childhood. Like that movie is just so important to me, and the fact that like we were able to like sit there and share how much we loved the movie, how much it like didn't get its due during its time, but now it's starting to have a resurgence. It felt amazing, like surreal. So that probably is one of my top moments ever doing this thing. That's what made me realize, wow, people watch this stuff.
So now I gotta ask, what's your favorite arc in One Piece?
Oh, Water 7.
Water 7?
Water 7, 100%. It has the most political intrigue, has the most drama between the crew. It's the first real test that the crew have, especially with the fight between Luffy and Usopp. You have the CP9, you have Robin's whole thing going on. Yep. Frankie gets introduced. Then there's like the impending goodbye of the Going Merry. There's so much going on in that arc, and it all fits so well. It perfectly leads into Enies Lobby. It's the best arc of One Piece.
Yeah. Now you've gone and you've just recently posted a few videos showing like who's going to be in the new second season of the live action of One Piece.
Yeah.
Who are you most excited for?
Who I'm most excited for hasn't been cast yet, and that's Nico Robin. So we're waiting for that.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of like who is cast now, I'm really excited to see Vivi. I'm really excited to see what Chiritha does with that character. So far, the casting from a personality standpoint seems to fit everyone. Inaki feels like Luffy, McKinney feels like Zoro, Emily Rep feels like Nami, and so they're keeping that trend with Chiritha as Vivi. She has the vibe. Her welcome video was such a Vivi thing. Yeah. I know there's a lot of not controversy, but I would say like conversations happening around her ethnicity, her background, because Vivi and just the Kingdom of Alabasta is mostly an Egyptian type of inspiration thing. And Middle Eastern, and obviously she is like Southeast Asian.
Yeah, I love the fact that they are going and they're keeping the cast very diverse.
I love that, yes.
And they are going for different regions, so different nationalities.
Exactly.
My only concern is, what do you think if Chopper's going to work or not? Is that the make or break?
Chopper is a very interesting thing on the horizon because he is going to be heavily CG.
Yeah.
Right? And I wonder if they have the budget for it. I wonder if he's going to look good because he's not someone that you could just... He's not a pet.
No.
You can't turn to him. He's just kind of there doing whatever. He moves. He has action. He's just as much of a character and part of the crew as everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a heavy part of the budget. I hope they get it right.
That's my main concern is Chopper.
Yeah. I mean... The CG had a bit of charm in the first season. Yeah. Right? It didn't always look the best, but it's the world of One Piece. You can kind of get away with that.
Oh, absolutely.
So one can say, like, maybe Chopper could fit that same mold. How realistic does he have to look, right?
Yep.
These are questions that will be answered once we see him, but for right now, I'm excited for him regardless, but should be good.
All right. Thank you so much for talking with me. It's a pleasure.
Of course, absolutely.
Right. Thanks a lot, man.
As you can see, there's also like a lot of cosplay photo opportunities. So there were so many great and amazing cosplayers there, all sorts of different characters. So they have areas where they can take plenty of photo ops. I highly recommend if you're into cosplay and you want to show off like your costume designs, like you can go and even get photo sessions and you can book with different photographers. We had a photographer, Stephanie, with us, and she was taking a lot of great photos. So those are going to be available on her actual stuff. So I'll put a link to there in the description, but we also plan on having her with the interviews. There was so much to see and so many places for you to take photo opportunities and meet some amazing artist cosplayers. This is just absolutely amazing, and even one day just wasn't enough to cram everything in, but the opportunity to see like even just moving around a little bit, you're seeing like different costumes moving around. People really love the characters, and it's a great expression to be able to see what everyone's able to do.
Third bit
Why don't you give a plug for yourself?
Nerd Bitch Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, for all your nerdy needs. We talk about all the stuff that you want to talk about if you're in a room full of 5 of yourselves. Yes, exactly. So think of something that you would love to talk about at any given point in time, and then you have a feeling like you can't share that with people. That's what we do on the Nerd Bitch Podcast. We share our love for everything: wrestling, movies, television shows, game shows, everything. We've done game shows before. It's actually kind of fun. We recently did a dating episode. We did a dating game episode. We're going to do, what's it called? The $10,000 pyramid, but with like pennies. It's because we're broke. We don't have any money. I got sponsors. It's a fun time. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on YouTube. We YouTube the whole entire thing, so it's really fun in our happy little studio that we have. We also do, we just got on iHeartRadio, so that's a pretty good bump right there. Yeah, baby. Yeah. And sometimes you'll catch me doing my little impressions, because sometimes, I'll do my little impressions. And things, and, words come out of my mouth in the way that they should, yeah.
And not an advertisement, not sponsored in any way, but there's I ordered some stuff from Anime Ape. They actually have, you'd probably like it. They have the Macho Man, the cream rises to the top shirts.
Oh my god! That's
so
great.
they have merchandise like that on.
I love that stuff.
So like I've seen, like they have like a lot of anime merch, but every now and then like you see like there's like some Power Ranger stuff, but there's stuff like that. So I mean, come on, who doesn't love a good Macho Man?
Exactly. Yeah, digging up and down the line. Yeah,
I have to say, because we talked a lot about wrestling on this episode, but more than we normally do.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I do love the Slim Jim commercials with LA Knight lately, because they start them off with the Macho Man's old commercials.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at least they're still keeping that going.
It's an homage, if you would.
Yeah, especially now with LA Knight, where I'm like, that guy is so over.
Yep.
Where it's like, a guy who's older is just hitting his prime. Meanwhile, back in like the 90s, they would have been like, he's too old.
Yeah, he would have been buried.
He would have been buried. Yeah, but back then they didn't have like fitness routines and everything like they do now. So we kind of age a little bit slower, and we able to do a lot more. And he's been wrestling for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
People don't realize this. Do you know in the old Triple H workout videos, he was in them?
Oh yeah,
yeah, the whole entire time. Yeah, well, all right, we're gonna work out to our delts now. Yeah,
he was there. That's the funny thing when you start seeing all the people that have been around, but they were just in the background.
Yep.
You're like, oh my god!
Speaking of being in the background, I follow Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, Buff Bagwell.
He posted a picture from No Holes.
No one can fucking hear
into the mic.
Mike into the mic.
Yes.
He posted a picture from No Holes Barred.
Oh my god!
When Zeus went to go invade his gym or whatever, you see Buff in the background holding one of the kids, a very young Buff Bagwell. Oh, wow. He certainly goes, "Look, guys," he goes, "That's me."
Another fun thing about that movie, in the scene where where Hulk Hogan was it Mr. Nanny, I think it was, where he's riding a motorcycle down the road. It was No Holds Barred. I can't remember.
No Holds Barred. He had the motorcycle.
Yeah, so either one of those movies where you see the scene where Hulk Hogan's driving up and down the road where he's riding a motorcycle. They took it on a random road without telling anybody, and they filmed it from a trailer. And they have Hulk Hogan just B-roll footage the shit out of it. Well, if you look in the movie when it happens, I swear to God, this is true. For some odd reason, they didn't. I guess they left it in for a reason, because maybe worse stuff was down the road. You see a guy throwing a dog into the river.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's like,
this is why I am known as the little, like, I'm known for this stuff, because I spot little things like that. And I remember watching it as a kid. I was like, Mom, did a guy just throw a dog in the river?
Oh no!
It was like a French bulldog or something like that.
Yeah, there's always
Matilda.
Matilda was Matilda.
There's always some weird stuff in the back in certain movies.
Yeah,
it's like Conan. If you watch Conan, the first Conan the Barbarian, he like. You saw it on television as a kid. You don't know because it's in full screen.
Right.
But when you see it in widescreen, you can see the guy is having sex with the camel.
Yep.
He's behind the camel. He's going.
It's supposed to be a gag or something like that.
Yeah. And then because they make it a reoccurrence where the camel pops up again in the next Schwarzenegger Conan movie, The Destroyer, where he goes and like the camel spits on him.
Yeah. Another fun thing, do you know in the movie Me, Myself, and Irene, Jim Carrey makes a cameo
as Fire Marshal Bill.
Fire Marshal Bill at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie.
And then there's another one. Let me show you something. Yeah. What was the other one? What was the other one I was going to say? Because it's really good. It's really good. Something happens in the background. Oh, it was so good too. I just brain farted. Never mind. Screw it. I'm stupid.
It happens. So, Mike, why don't you give the socials?
All right. You want to follow the Dragoon's Lair podcast. You can do it in two ways. One, follow us on Instagram at the Dragoon's Lair podcast. You could follow us also on Facebook at, oddly enough, it's called the Dragoon's Lair podcast. Danny, what is the email?
That would be dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. It's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com.
If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram, Hamster Pellet Productions. Also on Facebook at Hamster Pellet Productions and Mike Schiavo. Also, if you go to my regular page, the Michael Schiavo page, vote for me. I'm in the Faces of Horror contest. Right now, I'm currently second. You have about another 8 days to vote for me. You can vote for me daily. If I win, I get $13,000, and I get a photo shoot with the Rue Morgue magazine down in St. Louis with Kane Hodder. That's right, Jason Voorhees himself. So vote, people. I want to go down there.
Yes, please vote for Mike, because when you look at Mike's face, you definitely think horror show.
Exactly. I have a face for horror, and he has a voice for silent movies.
Yeah,
there you go.
Now that one hurt. That hurt a lot, you know. But at the same time, fuck you.
Anyway, Mike, plug yourself, baby.
You can follow me on Instagram at Quinstagram789. You can follow me, the Nerd Badge Podcast, on basically everything. It's the Nerd Badge Podcast, all one word. Stephen Person on Facebook, Stephen Person IP on Twitter, because it's never going to be X to me. I don't care what anybody says. I'll fight it to the death, and I'll take it to my grave. You will not win. I will strip your soul out of your body. It's always going to be Twitter to me. What else do I have? That's actually a good one. Yeah, that's basically about everything. So
don't forget your OnlyFans page.
Oh yeah, my OnlyFans page. It's not what you think. It's not OnlyFans. It's me, only with fans. That's all it is. I have a bunch of things blown on me at the same time because I get really hot. And I just stream it. I thought it'd be good. I don't know. And then I'm going to start. Also, you can find me on Only Haters. It's where I post something and then everyone just like shits all over it, which is also known as my Instagram and my Facebook. So
I also find them on Pornhub.
Yeah, Mike likes to do
my
that
search history is not on there. You do not look that up. If I die, babe, remember, delete that shit.
Delete my history.
And you can
with a hammer.
And you can get in touch with me, the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, at Blue Dragoon 13 on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitch. We have the link to the Discord page through the Twitch page, along with you can also watch all the stuff, with including the episodes, on the Blue Dragoon 13 YouTube channel. Really easy to find. Blue Dragoon, the number 13. That's it. And you can listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else that your podcast platforms that you're looking for.
See what I mean, folks?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the problem is I'm tired.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm tired, and frankly, looking at Mike, I really want him to win that contest just because the cultural appropriation of him as one of the Three Amigos costume. You can find his picture. Please find that picture.
Oh, it's on my Facebook. It's on my Instagram.
Yes, please find it. Look at that photo and tell me that it isn't Balky Bartakamus as one of the Three Amigos.
Are we going to go through this again?
Oh, we are so going to keep doing this. I'm never letting it die.
He calls me Balky, and a lot of people do too. We go to Chilla last year. We meet Mr. Markland Baker.
Okay.
Okay? Ask him straight out.
He's still trying this.
And it got it from him. He goes to him, he goes, can you do me a favor? Can you settle an argument with us? He goes, does he look like Balky? And he looks at me up and down, and you could see for a second, he's like, how do I answer? I'm like, do I look like him? Because people say I do. He goes, no, you don't. I'm like, yes! From the man himself.
Well, to be fair, he's also almost dead, so that doesn't count.
Who, Baker or Bunsen Pinchot?
Both.
Although I still would love to see a reunion episode of
that'd have been great.
Perfect Strangers.
But they're too old now. That's gone.
Oh, no. There's still, what was it? Bronson Pinchot just showed up in the Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's fine. But what's his name? Dude, he looks like he's dying.
Well, there's a reason why he was She-Hulk's dad.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I was like, ooh.
And
give him some gamma radiation.
Yeah. And with that being said, folks, we want to thank you all for tuning into the Dragoon's Lair podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave us comments. They help everyone find the show. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate it. And you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Later.
Bye.